Episode of The Breakdown. I'm Mike.
And I'm on. Daniel Jones? Are you serious right now? They drafted Daniel Jones with 6 picks.
Damian Lillard is a top 5 player in the NBA right now. Welcome to this episode of The Breakdown. I'm Mike.
And I'm Austin. Man, do we have an action-packed show prepared for you today? A little NBA free agency, a lot of guys changing teams, a lot of teams trading guys as well. Yeah. And we're also going to talk about the NBA draft and the Anthony Davis trade. Dude, are you excited?
This was an exciting free agency. It's not even over yet. Just look at the top guys that are still available. You saw Kawhi Leonard, he's basically holding everything up right now because there's a lot of guys, like Danny Green has said basically, I'm waiting to see what Kawhi does.
Right.
You have a guy like DeMarcus Cousins who, from what I heard, is not really getting offered the money that he was probably hoping for. It's kind of looked kind of dumb considering last offseason Pelicans offered him $20 million a year, and
right.
Here he is, he can barely get a minimum wage. You have Danny Green, like I just said, Jabari Parker, Rondo, Marcus Morris, plenty of other great names out there.
We're gonna discuss these guys in a little more in depth a little later in the show. Definitely DeMarcus Cousins, Kawhi Leonard. Maybe we'll have a little insight of where Kawhi Leonard might be playing basketball next season. We have some of the guys that have been already been signed. Obviously, Kevin Durant going to the Brooklyn Nets, along with Kyrie Irving signing for 4 years, $164 million. Kyrie signing for 4 years, $142 million. That was a big deal for Brooklyn, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to talk about a franchise turning signs? I mean, that's how you turn your franchise. Remember when the Nets were the laughing stock in the NBA? Like, oh, look, the Nets thing, but guess what? Their pick's going to Boston.
Right.
Like, they turn that into Kyrie, franchise point guard, Kevin Durant, one of the best players on the planet. Oh, and keep in mind, it's not just those guys. They've had a really good offseason. Like they traded for Taurean Prince, who's a solid small forward coming from Atlanta. You had DeAndre Jordan came with those. You had like guys like Garrett Temple, Wilson Chandler. I mean, they've had a really good offseason. To go with that young core of guys they already have, like Spencer Dinwiddie, you have Jared Allen still there. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have a nice team next year.
Karis LeVert's
another one. Joe Harris.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Durant won't be there next year.
Right.
But the Nets will be better.
Well, look, man, you want to look at the Brooklyn Nets. You want to see a textbook way to rebuild. Brooklyn Nets is where you got to get your information from, man. I mean, their GM, I know Trajan Langdon, the guy the Pelicans just hired as their new GM. He was their assistant GM last year. No draft picks. All the draft picks going to to Boston for, I think, 3 years. Part of that Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce trade from years ago. One of the worst trades in NBA history. But for them to rebuild and to pull this off is remarkable, without having the assets necessary to get these deals done.
And they were able to make a trade, they traded Alan Crabb. They got rid of that contract. And from the 17th pick, turned it to Taurean Prince, who's still on his rookie deal for this at least 1 year. That was part of the reason why they were able to sign both guys. They already had one max spot open, but to get that other max spot open, I mean,
I think it'll be like he said, Kevin Durant will not be playing next year. He's out with the Achilles injury, as many of you know. It happened in NBA Finals, so he will miss all of next season. But look, this team is going to be very good next year, like you said. I think you're looking at them to push into the top 5 seeds in the Eastern Conference, maybe a little higher. We're going to talk about some of these other teams that kind of got better in this offseason as well. But I think after this season, the next season, 2020 season, I think it's going to be interesting to see. I think from a talent standpoint, it should be theirs to take. But from a talent standpoint, I'm interested to see how Kevin Durant and Kyrie kind of coexist. Kyrie, had an attitude issue, in my opinion, down in Boston. We're going to talk about that later with the Kemba Walker signing. But I think him and Kevin Durant fit next to each other. I'm interested to see how it works out. They're best friends off the court, but you never know. On the court, it could be a little different.
Yeah, because remember that first year when LeBron and D. Wade and Bosh, they lost in the finals. Granted, yes, they didn't make the finals.
And they started slow that year, remember, too. They started like 10 or 11-11, trying to get off the...
Yeah, then they got going, but it just wasn't enough to beat the Mavericks that year.
So I think that's something interesting to look for, don't you think?
Right, yeah. Now, the good thing is, when you think about it this way, is Kyrie can get used to playing with these other guys.
Right.
So at least you have that, right? And then you just add Durant into it. Rich, yes, it's gonna be an adjustment. Anytime you add a guy like Kevin Durant, it's gonna be a little bit of adjustment because that guy, he's gonna demand the ball and he's gonna want his shots. But I think it's gonna kind of give him a little boost knowing that Kyrie kind of already will have some insight and can tell kind of Kevin Durant look, these are everybody's tendencies. I think you're playing great. Just do this.
Yeah,
They're going to be a dangerous team.
It was definitely a great offseason for the Nets. I look forward to seeing their team complete, and all together look for them to maybe compete for a championship, maybe a couple. Good job by Kenny Atkinson and that staff for putting this team together. So.
Yeah, I think Kenny Atkinson really appreciated the free agents.
Yeah, he did. Well. He said, I'll allow those guys to come play with me.
Those guys to come play with me.
So coming down the board, Kemba Walker, another great signing, Boston Celtics.
Love
Jimmy Butler, Miami Heat. It was a sign and trade.
Okay.
D'Angelo Russell going to the Golden State Warriors as part of the Kevin Durant deal. That was a huge big one for Golden State.
If you look at it this way, like you look at, yes, D'Angelo Russell is not Kevin Durant, but the Warriors were going to lose Kevin Durant for nothing before this happened. So that's how you have to look at it. You were going to lose Kevin Durant for nothing, and you turn it into D'Angelo Russell.
Right.
Now, the big question I think everyone wants to know is, all right, that's great, early on, but how is Klay Thompson going to fit in all of this? And that's the real question. They want to see how it's going to fit.
Well, I think right now they got D'Angelo Russell because they have basically a half a season to kind of figure that out and see if D'Angelo Russell's part of their future. You couldn't lose Kevin Durant for nothing. They risked it. Kevin Durant would have went to Brooklyn and they wouldn't have got anything back. He could have went to any other team. They wouldn't have got anything back. For them, for actually Kevin Durant going to Brooklyn, that specific team helped them tremendously because they had a free agent of their own that they couldn't bring back because of the Kyrie Irving signing. They didn't have enough cap space to bring back D'Angelo Russell, who was a restricted free agent. So Golden State was able to pull that deal off and get him to sign and trade with them. I think that was a great trade for them. Look, from a fit standpoint, I don't know how it's going to work out because he's a point guard. Steph Curry's a point guard. But I think before, while Klay Thompson's out, he should be out until January.
Should be shooting guard.
Right, he'll play shooting guard and look for, on offensive possessions, look for D'Angelo Russell to play more of the point and let Curry run off those back screens and be more off the ball. And I think that will really help Curry's game a lot. And then when Klay Thompson comes back, you can try and put him at the 3, see how it works out with those 3 guys in the starting lineup. If it doesn't work out, you have a nice young piece, young trade bait for next offseason to try and get somebody else to fit in with that roster.
Right, let's say if it doesn't fit, you can always trade him and just get another piece.
Right, I mean, the guy's 22 years old.
He was an all-star. Right, you're going to get good value from him if it doesn't fit.
He could be later on part
and
of
it's one of those things.
trade.
And if it does fit, that's a really good team.
Right,
you have
Draymond, and they added
3
all-stars.
Willie Cauley-Stein, I don't think we were going to talk about enough how great of a sign. That to me, that's an upgrade from DeMarcus Cousins because of the fit standpoint.
Right.
Willie Cauley-Stein can play in an up-tempo, lobs, rebound. He's young and athletic. Where Boogie, he's had injury problems. He's not really great in a fast-paced offense. He can. I'm not saying he can't because he kind of did it in New Orleans a little bit. But he doesn't really fit like the Warriors want. They want up-tempo threes, kick out. Big man, really all they want the big man to do is rebound and, easy buckets and then kick it out.
If you look at it from the standpoint I look at it is, in the past years, they've had Damian Jones, JaVale McGee, Andrew Bogut, who was a little different type of player than Cauley-Stein. But if you look at it, Cauley-Stein's athletic like McGee and Damian Jones, and then also Kevon Looney as well. If you look at him, he's going to be a better version of those guys. He's going to help them on defense tremendously because he has athleticism, and they like to switch off ball screens. So when the ball screen comes, and they couldn't really do that with DeMarcus Cousins because if you look at in the Toronto series, Toronto really focused. They pinned an eye right there on DeMarcus Cousins, said we're going to attack you because we know you can't defend because of his injuries and his speed, foot speed.
He's not able to keep up, so he pretty much has to stay on.
But with Willie Cauley-Stein,
he can switch.
He can switch off those pick and rolls, and you can play the defensive style that you want to play.
Right, exactly. I agree 100%.
Right.
So kind of moving down, another big signing. I think this is just a huge signing. Is Al Horford going to Philadelphia for 4 years, $109 million? I don't think people realize how huge that is. Just that veteran leadership he's going to bring that team. I mean, everybody saw last year Joel Embiid was just completely and utterly just distraught after losing Game 7 to Kawhi in the second round. So you can tell, I personally, I'd like to see it. You want to know why? Because that shows Joel Embiid cares and he's hungry. He wants to win.
Right.
So you got to add a guy like Al Horford who's been around, knows what it takes to win.
He's playing his natural position.
Right. He can move to power forward, which, really his whole career he's played center. When he was in Atlanta, he played center. When he was in Boston, he played center. Which really, in college, he played power forward.
Right. Him and Joakim Noah at the University of Florida.
Right. And won a national title there.
Right.
Going back to him knowing how to win. So now you could put him at power forward. Now you have a starting lineup of, at the 3, you'll have Tobias Harris, and then you'll have Al Horford, Joel Embiid, and then obviously you'll still have Ben Simmons at the point. And then, like we're going to get to with Jimmy Butler going to Miami, you got Josh Richardson in that trade. That's a really good starting 5.
Right.
And
you know what? Another thing, too, is, look, if you add Al Horford, Ben Simmons can't shoot, so that's a non-shooter. Richardson can knock down a couple 3 balls a game, but before they had Jimmy Butler, he's more of a mid-range shooter. So you add Al Horford. Al Horford can knock down a 3-point shot. So now you have your whole front court can step out and hit the three ball, and I think that's going to be huge for the next season.
Spread out the floor. I mean, when you spread the floor out, oh think it's gonna be an exciting
Exactly.
fair offense.
Exactly, especially with Ben Simmons running down the floor and being able to hit those open guys.
And then also it kind of opens up for him to be able to drive past guys and have easy layups. Because like before, if it's crowded down there, I mean, yeah, you can go down there,
Right.
but there's gonna be a big guy waiting for you.
And I think me and you talked about it too. We talked about this, I think, towards the end of the season. We're talking about how what Philly needed to do in the offseason to remain competitive and get back or even get further in the NBA playoffs. And we talked about they had to keep one or the other, Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler.
We did.
So they did that. And then for them to add Al Horford also to that, I think that is huge. That's more than I expected them to do. And I think that is so huge for them this upcoming season.
They took advantage of their Ben Simmons still being on his rookie deal. They were like, look, if we're gonna do something, we gotta do something now, so we're able to go over the cap and
Right.
keep Ben Simmons. And adding Al Horford for 4 years is huge. It's huge for the franchise. And if you want to win a championship, which it seems like their franchise does, it was a step in the right direction. Great signing.
I definitely think it was a
signing.
great signing as well. Another name we're going to kind of go down to at the end of the free agent board is Malcolm Brogdon. He signed for a whopping 4 years, $85 million with the Indiana Pacers. To me, it was a little bit of a head scratcher. Like, you're scratching your head. I thought it was a head scratcher. But
He's a good player.
a young player, but the career average is 12 points a game. I don't think that's 4 years, $85 million worth. But you got Oladipo's gonna be out for much of next season, if
I
not
think
all.
they're thinking he's gonna have a bigger role.
Probably,
and they're
yeah.
like the points are gonna go. Like he's a good player. He's a really good player. But I mean that's a lot of money. I mean you could tell the Pacers wanted him. In their minds, they were like, "This is our guy, and we're gonna get him." And then, I mean the Pacers. I mean they also gave up a first-round pick and 2 seconds to get him as well. It was a sign and trade type deal. Just a lot of money to give to him. I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong. Maybe he'll go to Indiana with a bigger role and prove me wrong, be worth that money. But as of this moment, I don't see the money.
Right, I agree with that. I think they had cap space, too much cap space, and they were like, we got to use it. And all the other big names were gone. They didn't have a market for them, so we went out and got a young guy. But kind of want to get your opinion on some things. We kind of went through the free agency board, and there could be there's some other names out there. We just went over the bigger names, but I kind of want to get your opinion. Out of all the free agents that were signed so far, obviously Kawhi is holding everything up from going forward. But out of all the guys that have signed already, who do you think was a signing that you look back and say, man, that was a steal, or that was a signing that made such a huge difference in the NBA this season? Kemba.
Because I just think and now looking at is Kemba a better player than Kyrie? Probably not. Now it's not far off. I think Kemba's right there. But the reason I think Kemba, because I think he's going to be better for that locker room, which that's going to be because you could just tell, last year something was not right. Those guys didn't respond to Kyrie. Kyrie tried that a year, trying to be the guy. It didn't work out. I just think he's going to be a better teammate. He's going to be a better leader. And he's going to have no problems, spreading the ball. Now, is he, obviously Kemba's he has to, for him, he's out of the ball in his hands. He's a scoring point guard. He's a score first point guard. He's not really but I can see him taking a step back to help the team win. Because let's be real here in Charlotte, he had to be the guy.
Right.
There was never a time where he was like, "Oh, let me just pass the ball out and let other guys." No, if he didn't be the guy, they weren't going to win. So now he's in a better situation. He has a better coach, better talent around him, just a better franchise. Much as Michael Jordan's great, but he's in a better franchise situation, and I just think it's going to work beautifully.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Boston they lost Al Horford, which I thought was
that one's huge.
That was
huge.
a bigger deal than losing Kyrie, in my
Yes.
opinion, because Horford is such a veteran presence in that locker room. They have so many young guys with Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I think that was a huge deal. But look, you add Enes Kanter to that from on the court standpoint. I think he can help. He's going to bring really a lot of what Horford brought, and I think he's a pretty good teammate as well. From what I've heard around the league, from other players that play with him, if you see him in the media, they say that Enes Kanter is a pretty good player and pretty good locker room guy. So you add Kemba, you add him. That's 2 good locker room guys. I think for Boston to be successful next season, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to be priorities. They have to be priorities when it comes to in-game situations. Let them go do what they do best. Let them go score, and Kemba can take. I think Kemba, like you said, can take a better job of taking a step back and letting those guys kind of do their thing and run in the flow of the offense.
Especially if he wants to win.
Right, if he wants to win. I think another thing too is he might want that because in Charlotte all the pressure's on his shoulders. Now he can kind of release some of that pressure and put it on other guys' shoulders. And I think that's gonna be huge for Boston this year. I think they're gonna be a better team this year than they were last year.
Another thing too, Gordon
Kyrie.
Hayward. Last year was his first full year coming back from injury, so now he had a full off season. I mean, I expect him to be better. Is he gonna be the $30 million guy they paid for? We'll see.
Right.
But I mean, I expect him to be a little bit better too. Like you said, the Enes Kanter, like you said, I think that's a really good signing as well. So, kind of another one I wanted to talk about, which to me, it doesn't put him in like a championship contender, but the Jimmy Butler sign. I know we kind of went over. We didn't really talk about it. I mean, how do you feel about the Jimmy Butler sign?
I thought for him, it was kind of a questionable decision to go to Miami.
I think he wanted to be.
He wanted to be the guy, and I think for his career, maybe from a lifestyle standpoint, off the court, maybe Miami was the best place for him that he felt.
There's already a video of him playing dominoes.
Yeah. So I mean, Miami's a great place to live. It's a great vacation spot. You got a lot of things to do. So maybe that was something that drew him to Miami more than the basketball side of it. But look, they still have some cap space left. Maybe you go get a guy like DeMarcus Cousins. They have some other guys on their list. You could bring some guys in. They're trying to unload some cap. They traded Kelly Olynyk's contract, I think, part of the Jimmy Butler trade.
So Hassan Whiteside's contract.
Right, they got rid of Hassan Whiteside's contract. So look, I think they're trying to make moves. Maybe they're looking forward to maybe next offseason, try to put a team around him. But look, I think from a basketball standpoint, it's going to be interesting to see him being the guy again.
He's a good player.
He's a good player, but I just don't see them winning a championship with him as their star. And that's the
they're going to have to
problem
put some guys around him for him to be starting. I think with him, he was kind of saying he wants to be the guy, and I just don't know with him being the guy if they're going to win a championship.
Right. He's a second option.
Right, that's how I look at it too. But I think in his mind, he wants to be the first option.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see how it works out.
I mean, this year's East, they might make the playoffs with him.
I think they'll make the playoffs.
It'd be like a low seed, like six through eight, 7 or So it's been interesting to see. So kind of moving on to the draft. I want to talk about the draft a little bit. Man, there's an exciting draft. A lot of head scratchers. A lot of all right moments. The one big moment, obviously, Zion going to the New Orleans Pelicans.
I cried a little bit, man.
And then
tears.
Also getting Jackson Hayes was also huge for y'all as well.
Yep.
I mean, looking at the draft, who would you think was the biggest winner for the draft as a whole?
I mean, obviously New Orleans was a winner. If you're looking at the top 10, those are guys we have up there. I think, I think a team that got a steal was Atlanta. I think Reddish is a good player. I think he has star potential. I think there's some questions about his motor, some questions about his work ethic. But I think once he gets in a situation where all he can do is ball and just play basketball, I think he's going to do fine. At Duke, he was overshadowed by R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson. Those are the two stars. But look at this guy coming out of high school. He was one of the top prospects coming out of high school. The kid's very talented, can shoot the three ball really well, has great size for the position. I think he's going to do great things in Atlanta. I really do. I think at 4, y'all took Hunter. I think Cam Reddish is going to be better than DeAndre Hunter at 4. I really do. I think in the future.
Hunter right now, Hunter's easily the best defensive prospect in this year's draft, without a question. But the big question to him is how he's going to be from an offensive standpoint. He can knock down the corner threes and all, but at 4 overall, you don't get drafted to be a 3-and-D guy, which is great. Guys like Danny Green, Kyle Korver, those guys are great. But I don't draft you 4th overall being a 3-and-D guy. You got to develop some type of offensive game. And I think with being the 4th, I'm not asking you to go out there and I need to average 28 points a game, which
that'd be great.
I wouldn't complain. But just go out there and be an 18-point-a-game guy and just play great defense.
Well, I think he fits in with what y'all want to do. I think he's the player that y'all hope Taurean Prince would be because when Atlanta drafted Taurean Prince, they don't need a scorer. They got Trae Young. Now they have Cam Reddish. They have Kevin Huerter. They have John Collins. So they have guys that can score, can put the ball in the basket. I think the reason why they went after Hunter at 4 is to get that guy that can anchor their defense because Trae Young's going to get attacked on defense. He's a small guard.
He's not really, he's not working on defense.
And the same thing with Huerter. I don't watch a lot of Hawks games, but I would assume Huerter is probably the same way. He's more of a 3-point shooter, not really a defensive guy. So they're bringing him in, but I don't think it's the issue at 4 overall. I think it's an issue of what y'all gave up to get to 4. Y'all traded New Orleans Pelicans 3 first-round picks, and I think that was a reach to get a guy who maybe at his best is just going to be like a Bruce Bowen type player in the NBA.
Right. I think it's more pressure on DeAndre Hunter to become a really good player because, like you said, we gave up 8th pick, 17th pick, and then the Cleveland. It's top 10 protected. Right. So whether y'all get it.
We probably the way it's top 10 protected. You figure Cleveland will be bad next year. If they keep the pick, it becomes 2 second-round picks in 2021 and 2022. Right. So it's highly protected, but still, for right now, the face value of it is a first-round pick.
Right. So I would say y'all got a lot for just the 4th pick, which definitely is a win for the Pelicans, without a doubt.
Right.
Another thing I kind of wanted to talk about, we were talking about free agency a little bit, and we're about to cover this part, is we kind of talked about the teams that we did really well. I feel like I already know the answer to this question. Who do you think struck out in free agency?
Oh, man. I feel like the whole world knows the answer to this question.
Just ask Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith. I'll just finish crying. This is the worst thing in New York basketball history and this and that. But obviously the team that struck out and did the worst was definitely the New York Knicks. We have them they still have cap space. They struck out on Kevin Durant, struck out on Kyrie Irving, struck out on Kemba Walker, struck out on Zion, struck out on John Morant. They got R.J. Barrett, though, right? They got Julius Randle, though, right? How about Alfred Payton? Bobby Portis. Can't miss out on Reggie Bullock. What a great player he is.
Wayne Ellington.
And then a report comes out today saying that, not today, yesterday, that said that they didn't offer Kevin Durant the max deal. That's the reason why I lost the offseason, in my opinion. How do you not? This guy is a 28-point-a-game scorer. He's the best player in the league, best scorer in the league, arguably the best player in the league. I mean, when healthy, and the guy tore his Achilles. But look, he doesn't rely on athleticism. This guy can shoot. He can put the ball on the floor. He's athletic.
One of those guys. Like if anybody can come back from an Achilles, it's him because how he plays.
Exactly.
He's a shooter.
He doesn't play above the rim.
Right.
So
he's a shooter.
And look, you had to know like the teams that are after him: Golden State, the Brooklyn Nets, who signed
Clippers.
him, the Clippers,
You
probably
thought
the Lakers.
they weren't going to offer
exactly.
a max?
So if you're a GM and you're looking at yourself and you're saying, what can I offer him that makes him want to come to the Knicks? Other than being in New York, obviously, what can I offer that makes him want to come to the Knicks? So you're trying to put together a competitive money offer. You're going to offer less than the other teams? Like, that doesn't make any sense. He went, like, literally 30 miles down the road and signed in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, like, really? Come on, man.
You're going to let him go to Brooklyn.
You're going to let him go to Brooklyn?
You're going to let them become the best New York team.
Exactly. Totally lost the offseason.
And you know what the crazy thing is James Dolan was the one that said, it wasn't the GM, it was the owner. It was like, we're not offering the max. As an owner, if you want your team to be successful, how do you not offer like Kevin Durant? Guys like this don't hit the free agency market every year.
Right.
This is a once in a lifetime team, a lifetime chance, and you don't offer a max. You're literally shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, dude, look, for years and years and years and years and years, everybody's saying the big names go to LA, the big names go to New York, the big names go here. They missed out on LeBron James. This was their chance to rectify that. This was their chance to get that back. They had the once-in-a-lifetime chance to sign a once-in-a-lifetime player in Kevin Durant. So what? You have to wait one offseason for him to play. He's Kevin frickin' Durant. And you don't offer him the max contract? If I'm a Knicks fan, I'm just livid at this point.
I'd be Stephen A. Smith too.
Yeah.
I would be too.
That's unreal.
How can you do that? Like I don't understand. Really, like from a loss standpoint, they're the only team that lost. Really, like when I think about like they lost.
A lot of teams won. The Knicks.
A lot of teams won.
Lost.
A team we didn't talk about that I think won that you could argue won free agency is the Utah Jazz.
Portland Trailblazers, you throw there too.
Portland Trailblazers is another one. Like
Whiteside.
some sleepers sneaking in.
Yeah.
But the Jazz, man, trade for Mike Conley was huge. And then you get some bench help like for Moutier, Jeff Green, Ed Davis, and then they signed Bogan Bogdanovic, who's going to be huge to go with that. Like the Jazz, and then they still Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert.
Right, like you talk about the Jazz too. Like think about the way the Jazz play basketball. They're kind of like that Memphis Grizzlies, like 2011. We're gonna grind. We're gonna play defense. We're gonna like heckle you all the way down the court. That's a team that knows what they want to do, knows their style of play. And look at the guys that they went and got. Do those guys fit their style of play? Is Mike Conley not one of the best point guard defensively in the NBA?
Funny it's about the Grizzlies. I mean, he was
exactly. He was on that team. So who better to get than the guy who was that anchored their team? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So Mike Conley, Emmanuel Mudiay, really bad offensive player, but I like his upside. Great defensive player. Jeff Green, great defensive player, can shoot the free ball. Veteran. Ed Davis, great defensive player. Hustle, grinded out guy, gets offensive rebounds. Veteran. Boban Bogdanovic, 3-and-D guy. They know what they want to do, and they're going to do it. The Utah Jazz are going to be serious contenders in the NBA this year, especially with Golden State being hurt, with Klay Thompson being out. I think the Utah Jazz are definitely going to be contenders.
Yeah, the only right now, I mean, but for me, like if you would ask me like right now, who are my favorites? For me, it's between the Nuggets and the Jazz.
Well, look at the West, man. You were talking about this earlier. Look at the Western. Look at the NBA as a whole, really. The whole NBA got so balanced. What happened in Golden State?
Thanos came.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And exactly what happened. What happened in Golden State and Toronto in that finals with those injuries changed the whole landscape of the NBA. It really did. Because now Golden State is they're not like godly anymore. They're beatable. And then they don't have Klay Thompson for half the year. They don't have Kevin Durant signed with the Nets. You have Golden State. You have Denver coming back really good. You have Houston is still going to be. They still have James Harden and Chris Paul. They still have their same team. You have Portland who got better. Like Utah got better. You have the Pelicans who got so much better. I mean, we didn't even talk about the Pelicans. Pelicans will be good as they're going to be freaking awesome good next year. Like the Western Conference is
upside for
loaded.
the Pelicans now is just extremely high.
Oh, it's so high. And you have the Kings that are going to be better. They're young.
They took a step up in that last year. Like, they're only going to get better. They have a young team.
You have OKC still has 2 stars. You have the Lakers, and the Lakers might be the like 6 or 7 of that.
If the Lakers get Kawhi, oh my gosh.
What if they strike on Kawhi though?
I mean, there's still some good free agents out there.
So let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the free agents that are out there left and the teams that have cap space. We'll do that real quick and then we'll close out our show. How about that? Sounds good. So look, teams that have, we're talking about the Lakers. Kawhi Leonard is holding everything up, obviously. Everybody knows he's holding everything up. He's definitely, once his name gets off the board, you're going to see some of these other guys start coming off the board.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I think the teams that have cap space, Lakers, Clippers, have 2 max slots. They both have max slots.
They're like right there.
The Knicks have cap space, but they don't have enough to sign a max player. And the Hawks have cap space, but they're looking to take on bad contracts.
We're looking to take on bad contracts for
Right.
picks.
So you look at the teams, so like Kawhi, Lakers, Clippers, and then Toronto. Obviously, those are the teams where he's going to go to. So we'll be looking forward to that in the next couple of days. But you start looking at these guys, DeMarcus Cousins. Once Kawhi's off the board, I mean, where do you see a guy like him going? I know that the market's been really dry for a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, and
I think it's one, if Kawhi, let's just I literally don't know because I don't know what Kawhi's thinking right now. Like if he wants to take the easy way out, for me, I mean, go to the Lakers. You'll be there with 3 stars, and Kuzma is a really good player. If you want to be the guy, go to the Clippers. Go to Toronto. Both those, honestly, I feel those both are the same situation. If you think about it, you go to the Clippers, it's either you have like Patrick Beverly, Kyle Lowry, Siakam, Gallinari. Like, you literally can just look at the teams, and there's like a guy that like goes back and forth with them.
I think he fits with Clippers as well. I think their defense.
And then going with that, let's just say Kawhi goes to Toronto. I think the Lakers are going to go hard after DeMarcus Cousins. They're not going to give him a lot of money. Because DeMarcus, after the way he played in the finals, it's just the injury-prone thing. He's not going to get a lot of money. I think the Lakers, if they were to strike out with Kawhi, would overpay DeMarcus a little bit. I think they'd give him around, anywhere from the $5 to $10 million range on a short term. That might be like a 1 year, $10 million type thing. Another guy they could go after is Rondo. I think regardless, Rondo's going back to the Lakers.
Familiarity with AD.
Familiar. Maybe they go they want to have they could go Marcus Morris. Start a power forward if they want to. Is another guy the Lakers could go after. They could bring back Caldwell Pope. Is another one. I mean, Hollis Jefferson's out there still.
Jabari Parker's still out there.
Jabari Parker's another one. Jabari Parker I think would be a good fit for the Clippers.
I think
Jabari Parker would be a good fit with the Knicks because that'd be a chance where he can maybe make a name for himself.
Yeah.
Depends what he wants money wise. I know the Knicks. I think they have somewhere in the $10 million range, maybe 11.
I think the thing with Boogie, I don't think the Clippers, if they strike out on Kawhi, I don't think they go after Boogie because I think they're set. They have Montrezl Harrell. They don't want that type of situation going on with him in the locker room, him on the court. He's looking to prove himself, and I don't think that's a good situation for the Clippers. The Lakers, if they strike out, look for them to go after Boogie Cousins hard because that's star power that they can bring in, and it's a low risk, high reward deal. You give him a small money contract.
Maybe you see the old Boogie.
Right, and I think we talk about why is the market so dry. You look at what happened with the injuries and stuff. He not coming back. Goes back to 2 years ago or last summer when the Pelicans offered him 2 years, $40 million, and he turned it down. Decided to go to play in Golden State. There was even a sign and trade in place with Portland for 3 years, $45 million. I think looking back at it now, that was a big mistake because this offseason, so many teams had cap space. But you look at the guys that they went after. You have Al Horford, you have Russell, Butler, Walker, Tobias Harris was out there. They re-signed, but you had so many good guys. Durant, Kyrie Irving. The teams that have cap space, they went after those guys, and the teams that needed centers, they didn't go. They don't want to go after DeMarcus Cousins. Too much of a risk. So the good teams that need centers are going to go for more of the safe bet, and the bad teams that need centers aren't really willing to risk bringing in a guy like DeMarcus Cousins because it's not really going to help them as much because they're going to be bad anyway.
Right.
So it's kind of like a bad situation for DeMarcus Cousins. And I kind of feel for him a little bit, but at the same time, he should have made a better decision last offseason. Right.
So let's just say it's been interesting to see. Like I said, Kawhi is he's holding all this up because the Lakers have a lot of money. They literally have a max spot. They have 32.5 million. Just think, if they don't get Kawhi, they can spread that to a lot of players.
And I think for Kawhi, like you said, I think the best fit for him is go back to Toronto. They won a championship. It's self-explanatory. They loved him down up there, up north. You go to the Clippers.
I know he's from the California area. That's the only reason why I can see him going to the Clippers.
But look, you go to the Clippers, though, that's a good fit, too. Like you just said, it's basically the same situation as the
You're the guy,
Raptors.
and
You're the guy.
Decent sporting
and he fits in with that type of their team mantra, too. Their defensive style. Patrick Beverly and him would wreak havoc against opposing guard.
Like you said.
Montrezl Harrell. Right. They would do, and then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he can play shooting guard. They really would really, present a lot of problems for guys defensively. But, if he goes to the Lakers, I don't think the Lakers are really a good fit. I think the star power is there, and everybody looks at them on paper and says, man, they get Kawhi, this team's winning a championship. I don't see it. I really do not see it. And here's why. You have 3 alphas on the same team. Kawhi wants the ball, LeBron wants the ball, and AD doesn't want the ball.
And somebody's one of those three is going to take a step back.
Exactly.
Look at every big three
and
that's
I
ever
don't.
existed.
I just don't feel like they're all going to coexist together. I think it's going to cause a lot of problems in the locker room. You add Rondo and DeMarcus Cousins if they just choose to go in that situation, to go in that direction. That adds even
They can
more
still put a good
personality.
team together.
They can still put a good team. You have Kyle Kuzma, but look, I don't think the personalities really fit if you bring in those three guys, Kawhi, AD, and LeBron. I just really think it's a recipe for disaster. And as a Pelicans fan, I'm actually hoping for it to happen because I think it's going to crash and burn, and we have all their picks coming up in a couple years. So it'll be interesting to see what the Lakers do.
Yeah, because I know they said Kawhi. I mean, who really knows? I've heard like it could be tomorrow. I've heard it could be later this week. Who really knows what Kawhi? When the
Yeah,
decision's gonna
we're
come?
all on Kawhi's clock right now, and he's holding the league hostage.
Yeah, literally, he's only guys. Like I said, a lot of these other guys, like we just said, I really don't think you're going to see any of these rest of these big names sign until Kawhi makes a
Yeah,
decision.
it'll be after Kawhi makes a decision, and the teams that lost out on Kawhi will go after them as consolation prizes, pretty much.
Yep, I
So,
agree.
Great show, man.
Great show.
Great free agency.
Great free. I'm so looking forward to see what Kawhi does and what happens the rest of this free agency. A lot of big moves can still happen.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
So we want to thank y'all for watching, and just stay tuned for future episodes, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks, everybody.